guys, welcome to the second video that I've created for you of the frequently asked questions that I get. So about a week ago I put out a poll to ask you all what was the topic that you really wanted to hear about, and it was the subject of this video, which is, will cheek fillers make me look fat? Now this is the question I get asked all the time, whether it's from people who are thinking about having cheek fillers and it's their main concern, or if it's people who've come in for a consultation about what to do to kind of improve and balance their profile, and cheek fillers is what I've recommended there. So I'm just going to cover today really the benefits of having cheek fillers for each different type of face, and ensuring that they don't make you look fat. So the short answer to that big question is no. Cheek fillers will not make you look fat, it will not make your face look rounder. Cheek fillers are really about adding volume to the height of your cheekbone in order to create a more contoured look. It casts a little bit of shadowing underneath, and this gives more of a slimmed down face really. So that's kind of the crux of it when it comes to it. Now the reason that we do that, and the reason why that is so aesthetically pleasing, is that a young person's face is typically more heart-shaped. So the width and the height, I suppose, is more around the top section of the face and tapers in, creating more of a heart-shaped face. And this is deemed more aesthetically pleasing, more of a beautiful look. And as we age, unfortunately, with gravity and just the aging process in terms of having a reduced level of collagen production, etc., you tend to find that the fat pads move down, you have sort of less volume in this mid-facial area, you've got more volume in the jowly type area. So cheek fillers can really help with that as well. So really there's typically three types of faces, or three reasons that cheek fillers are going to work for a particular person. So the first one is somebody who has a typically round or flat face. So if I think about the majority of those sorts of people, it's usually my younger clients. So they've got the luxury of having that lovely plumpness in the center of their face, and they're looking to really look more slimmed, more contoured. So in that instance where somebody has got good plumpness in the center of their face, in the center of their cheeks and apples, we would not add any filler there. So of course you can create more of a fat face, you can create more of a hamster cheek face by adding the filler, in a different sort of area. But generally in that type of face, what I try and do is deliver really nice low sculpted cheekbones. So the cheekbones that typically are associated with the Kardashian Jenners. So really adding the height at the top of the cheekbone and really tapering it down. Obviously this is going to depend on the anatomy of that person, so we don't want to be adding filler in places that the bone structure isn't going to lend itself to, otherwise it's going to look really weird, especially when you smile. But essentially in that kind of round, flat face, or just round or just flat face, that is what we would try to do, just to give a little bit more contrast and contour in the face. Now, the second reason cheek fillers are usually recommended is for people who have nasolabial folds here, or marionette lines, or generally look like they're holding weight a lot more at the bottom half of their face. So in that instance you can of course put filler in those areas, but often the best solution for it is to actually add some cheek filler. So what that does is effectively lifts up the top part of the face, and creates more of that heart-shaped dynamic in terms of the facial volume. So that's where I would recommend it there. And lastly, for mid-facial volume loss. So again, as you get older, you tend to find that the middle of your face starts to lose volume. So One thing that people will see will be tear troughs, and that'll be something that I'll cover in a different video. But mostly it is around the mid-facial fillers, which I still class under cheek fillers. So in that instance, again, going back to placement and it all being about the right placement, is for that type of client, I would be focusing the filler in that area. Again, not to give a chubby face, but to give the right amount of volume relative to the rest of the face. And again, taper that out to the top of the cheekbone. So always ensuring that you're giving a contoured look, whether it's a natural contoured look, so a very natural looking one, or that real kind of high fashion supermodel. So other to that, the general other things that people want to know is how it's going to be delivered. So I've mentioned in videos and posts before that I try and do as many treatments as I can with cannula, and I tend to find that for cheeks it's one of the best to do with a cannula, so I often do this with a cannula, which also means that it doesn't really hurt. So firstly, because it is, you know, the instrument that it's done with, but secondly, because it's in a part of the face that isn't too sensitive, and there's only usually one puncture on each side. The last thing I want to cover is longevity. So with cheek fillers, I tend to find that the results would last sort of somewhere between 9 to 12 months on each person. And that is dependent on how much you use. So typically I would say when you're looking at budgeting for it, to budget for about 1 mil each side, so 2 mil in total. Then when you come in for a consultation or we chat it through a little bit more, we may do a little bit more, a little bit less, but then you'll find in that sort of top up period that it's not going to be the same amount again the next time, so long as you're topping up what's broken down. So I hope that's answered all of your questions. If it hasn't, please send me a message and I will try and answer all of those questions, and see you soon.